For more on the deal, I'm joined from Houston by Robert Cavnar, founder and chief executive officer of Enegx. I want to ask you about this deal between Argentina and Chevron. I guess the first thing is, are you surprised by the deal?
Actually, after the Repsol deal between the YPF and the government, I was a little surprised that Chevron would invest or commit to invest those kinds of dollars so early on. Argentina has tended to be known for these kinds of things, not necessarily taking companies away from investors, but more co-opting the earnings. I had some experience back in the late 90s with Argentina doing that to the company that I was with, adding fees and adjusting pricing to keep our returns low and increasing returns back to the government. So I'm not surprised at the way that the government's acted. I'm a little surprised by Chevron's bold investment here.
This co-opting that you're talking about, I think I know the reason why, but I want you to help our viewers understand why co-opting might be a concern for a company like Chevron.
It really makes it difficult for energy companies, and any company, but especially energy companies in these kinds of environments, to make investment decisions when you don't really know how long you're going to own the asset or how long the government's going to allow you to make money on that asset. Argentina has been known for doing these kinds of things in the past where they minimize the earnings, and that discourages foreign investment by the companies. The government's now trying to get people to incentivize people to spend $1 billion on shale. I think they're going to have a hard time getting other people in, but it depends on how they treat Chevron for the next couple of years.
So with that said, why would Chevron say yes to a deal like this?
Well, it's a huge shale resource. The interesting thing about this particular field, the Vaca Muerta field, is that according to at least the numbers I've seen from analysts here in Houston, it's not necessarily an economic field at this point, but the resource is gigantic, something like 27 billion barrels of oil. If they can perfect the completion techniques, and shale is all about completion techniques, they could make this into a huge economic resource if the government allows them to do that.
On one side, you have nationalization and state-run companies, and on the other side, you have private companies where it's pure profit, sort of they invest and they get all the profit, but they also take all the risk. Is it possible that Argentina can come up with a model that works with Chevron and other potential future deals that's somewhere in the middle?
I think that's what they're trying to accomplish, frankly, with this kind of 50-50 ownership of this particular investment. I believe that Argentina is trying to repair its reputation that is gained over the years and severely damaged when it co-opted Repsol. I think Chevron's at least big enough to be able to negotiate with the government of Argentina, and there's a chance of success here. But the risk of financial loss for Chevron, I think, is still pretty high.
Is it possible that this could lead to other deals, or do you think a lot of companies are watching this saying, wait a minute, let's see what happens to Chevron first?
I think other people are going to be on the sidelines here for a bit to see what happens. Argentine investment's very difficult. Typically, it takes a long time to get a deal done. The government tends to interfere with pricing and markets and those kinds of things to its own advantage. And because of that, a lot of companies are very, very cautious. So I think there's going to be a lot of people watching the Chevron deal to see what happens.
Exploration of oil is only one part of the whole energy equation, if you will. There's also the refining process. There's also the distribution process as well. Are there any other potential mergers or fits or deals that you see that make sense in Argentina?
Well, since most of the refining capacity is owned by YPF, that's also a part of the industry here, I'm not sure there's going to be a whole lot more investment unless people feel very, very good about it. My own experience in Argentina was I built a gas plant in the late 90s for a company that I was with earlier in my career, and the government worked the pricing such that it kept our returns so low that we finally gave up on that particular project. Argentina has to allow the market to work here. If oil prices, the world oil price moves, they should allow their oil price and their liquids prices to move with world markets. That way companies can make decisions about their investment in relation to their other opportunities around the world.
Robert Cavnar, Chief Executive of Enegx, joining us live from Houston. Thank you very much for your insights.